Didn't notice Marty was gone, but we will start. Okay, we will continue our work session today. We're going to be discussing the Scappoose Bay Watershed update. We're joined by Rochelle Myers from Scappoose Bay Watershed, and Public Works Director Dave Suka is here to give us kind of talk about their partnership and an update from what they've been doing and what they're going to do. So Rochelle, if you'd like to take it away.
Yeah, I'm Rochelle. I'm the Executive Director at the Scappoose Bay Watershed Council, and we have a really awesome partnership with the City of Scappoose. We have what's called an intergovernmental agreement, or an IGA, and we assist and work with the city to help do work in the parks along all of the waterways along South Scappoose. We've also been helping along the CZ Trail. We assist with doing some of the restoration work. We're doing other types of work with permitting. So we assist with doing permitting to get that work done with the city. We also recently updated our IGA to include some work with a staff member of ours that does GIS work. And so within our partnership, she also does GIS work about 16 hours a week for the city. So it's a pretty open partnership with a lot of different facets. And so we're here to talk about the things that we did over the last year within the partnership. Yeah. So this is just a glance for it. It's mostly 2025 metrics, but as we've gotten into 2026, there's some awesome things from winter that I have included as well. So next slide.
Getting bigger and bigger.
Okay. So one of the things that happened in the summer of 2024 was we extended the work that we did at Veterans Park. Many people are aware of Veterans Park. We did bank laybacks with the city, and we installed some log jams and did a large native planting there. It's thriving. So we extended the work that we were doing to include this E.J. Smith parcel. The restoration work was completed the summer of 2024. And then we have continued to maintain and plant this area. So the photos show what it looked like when it was first laid back. There was also some log jams and log structures installed along this site to prevent further erosion, and the plantings will also assist with that. This allows for the expansion of water going through there and the floodplain interaction for better quality habitat. It also helps with unwanted flooding. I know since our Veterans Park project was installed in 2019 or finished in 2019, we get really lovely comments from the city of Scappoose constituents in the area that say that their homes no longer flood. So that's been really nice. So this just continues to extend what we are doing and preventing flooding in unwanted areas. So our initial planting planted 3,500 plants. And then we've been doing interplanting and weed management that has been ongoing. So that initial install of plants, we do always expect some plant death or loss. The conditions at both Veterans Park and this E.J. Smith parcel, the soil is very clay-like, and so it gets very dry in the summer. But we have crafted the planting to be for the best conditions for the area, and they're doing pretty well. We also scaled back that initial planting so that we could really control the weeds. When the site was original, you can see the blackberry on that left-hand side. Well, intermittent with that blackberry is also poison hemlock. So once that blackberry was removed, it did just open that seed bank for hemlock, which we have been working with the city and controlling. So that initial planting was, again, scaled just a little bit back so that we could really maintain that site and continue to have it look its best and to have the plants survive as well. Next slide. So these are some slides from more recently. So this early spring, winter and spring, we interplanted 2,300 more plants, and this was within our collaborative partnership also with the Lower Columbia Estuary Partnership. So they partner with the city, but we mainly help maintain that communication with LSEP to do these plantings and to make sure that things are done correctly on site. And so over the winter, we had several different plantings that we worked with the city to host and planted 2,300 plants that came from LSEP in order to continue to support this site in the plants. And so this is a more recent photo of what this site currently looks like. We also, after the construction, that first winter had, as you can tell from the middle photo, had a very large ash go down. It was at the end of its life cycle. And so for the safety of the infrastructure in the area, that bridge off of A.G. Smith Road, the city did remove that. And so we were planting that area as well. Next slide. So to continue the work that we're really doing in this area, that the city has been so supportive of, we're continuing to move forward with the Chief Concomly restoration. This restoration is right across from the Veterans Park restoration. It is adjacent to all of these sites we've continued to work on. And this is really important for salmon habitat and just the habitat overall and the water quality for the area. So the city is taking the lead on this, the restoration actually, and has moved forward with the engineer for the designs and worked with us. We've just completed the permitting and submitted the permitting to the city for the floodplain development permit in order to complete this work. And so this is really going to help with the stream flow in the area and then create better habitat. And then the proper drainage and grading through this adjacent field is going to create more usable park space as well in the community. And next slide, because I can show you what that looks like. So here's a really lovely map. If you zoom out a little bit, there's a little bit of a key. And so the blue areas are areas of depression in the park that maybe were, I'm not even sure, maybe old storm water or something. No, but they're pretty deep depressions. And so as we're grading the park back, we're going to fill those in, and that's going to create more usable park space for kids to be able to throw balls or to move about the park a little bit easier. It's about a quarter of an acre of revegetation. We're going to be removing a lot of invasive vegetation. There are aging ash trees at this site. There are 3 that the Scappoose Bay Watershed Council recommends removing. Not only are they at the end of their age in the stream and are in jeopardy of falling in because they're deciduous, they don't create that habitat in stream to want to leave them there. And because they are, again, aging ash with other things coming down the pipeline, some pests and stuff. If you've heard of emerald ash borer, we're just concerned we'd rather remove those now than have them falling, because we have, not this winter, but the winter before, had 2 of the ash trees, larger ash trees at this site, fall in. And again, they're doing that because they're, probably 30 or 40 years old, and it's just at the end of where they are in their lifespan on a stream. So we're looking at replanting this site once the construction's finished. It's slated for this summer. This 2026 in-water work window is what we are looking at, or we're going to complete it. Then the city is taking the lead on the construction for this, working with the Scappoose Bay Watershed Council and the engineer for this. So we're really excited. And we'll look at planting after that 2,000 native trees, shrubs, and perennials. The invasives in the site we've been trying to manage, this will give us a lot more control over that as well. This site has had not only invasive blackberry, but garlic mustard, and that we've been treating for several years in a row. So I think having laying that bank back and opening things up is really going to allow us to control that.
Trevor?
I'm going to build on this one a little bit. So just for visionary's sake, the area that's shaded in dark blue, purple, That's gonna be laid back at a 2-to-1, so it'll look pretty much identical to what you see across the creek in Veterans.
Mhm.
But the bulk of the soil will remain on site as mentioned and filling in those lower areas. The reason behind that has been over the years of talk of how do you continue the use of that park. We've talked about community gardens, potentially horseshoe pits, or any number of things that by regrading that area in a little more flat, user-friendly configuration with positive drainage to the creek, that we'll be able to more focus on the use of that property that right now is really unusable due to its contours. So this is a win-win. It's making the park more user-friendly and improving the drainage along it. So just wanted to elaborate a little more there.
That's what goes into my question. You can't just add dirt there and raise it up, but because you're doing a cutback, you're basically taking that dirt that you've lowered there and moved it over there.
So with the restrictions, with the restrictions of the floodplain, it's cut fill balance. You cannot bring in any, but with this project, we're actually positive 100 yards. It'd be 100 yards being exported, so we'll be creating a small amount of storage capacity of water. Not much,
You can do
but
that.
but
You can
it
create.
but it will add storage.
Who gives the permits for those when you're issuing permits? Does the state allow, look at that and follow up, or is it city or county?
So it really depends. The permits for these things are tricky, which is why the city works with us for permitting for this specific project. Because we're above that high water table, we don't need to, it doesn't trigger DSL or DEQ. This is just a floodplain permit through the city, which is actually very, very extensive. But for, say, the EJ Smith parcel, that had 12 permits associated with it that the council maintained during the duration of that project. So again, because we're above that high water line, with this grading, it's a little bit less intense on the permit side of things, but everything is to code. The city of Scappoose also follows everything through FEMA requirements. So technically it's kind of both. So this gets into some of the metrics. So moving on from some of the larger projects, we did do the 2025 Earth Day planting, and we are coming up this weekend on the 2026 Earth Day planting. But to talk about the planting that we did last year, Scappoose Bay Watershed Council pre-augured holes this site along the CZ Trail because of that history there being an old railway. There is a lot of gravel, and the soil conditions are pretty poor. So we learned over the years of doing these with the city that it's easier for volunteers if we get out there and do the holes, which we're working on this week with the city actually for this upcoming volunteer event. And we also learned last year that the planting from 2025 is thriving in this area. We did bring in that supplementary soil and some mulch to better improve soil conditions for those plants, and that was really successful. So we're doing that again this time. The city staff last year prepared the site by removing invasives. We've also this year doing the same thing. The city has removed the bulk of them. We had our staff come in and deal with the poison hemlock. So we are all going to be all ready to go for this weekend, but we planted 10 native trees and 56 native shrubs last year, 10 lilacs. We also gave away about 74-inch plants to the community during the event that we grew up. All of these plants, I believe, came from our native plant nursery. And all of the plants that are slated for the project this weekend came from our native plant nursery behind the Scappoose High School. 10 volunteers participated, and we are really looking forward to this weekend. So
That was tough digging them the holes in 2024.
I was just going to say, you can attest to it.
I was like, oh, this isn't going to live.
well, and this year's the city staff are going to be out there with our staff pre-augering holes in the next day or two. Actually, getting out there with an auger was way more successful. And then again, because of the soil conditions, native plants are so they're drought tolerant, they're very resistant. Even with those bad soil conditions, they help to improve those soil conditions. There's many plants we've planted along there. They are nitrogen fixing, like red alders and things like that. But really supplementing some stuff there has really been really helpful for them. And we really encourage mulching as well, because not only is it a weed suppressant around the base of those plants, but it helps maintain moisture control. So during those really hot days, it'll help keep moisture around the roots of those plants as well.
Dave, are we, using the dirt from the dryer?
Not yet.
Not yet?
No, we are so close to getting that approved to use. The next year, yes, we will.
Okay.
So the soil that we used last year is, so with Scappoose Bay Watershed Council, we do kind of, we get soil from Means Nursery donated directly to our nursery. And so we found it easiest last year to pre-load up. We have 60 to 80 students, and I'll talk about our CTE program in a minute, that assist at our nursery. So we had, we use buckets a lot. And so we had buckets pre-filled with soil, 5-gallon buckets, because those are easy for volunteers and staff to move. We loaded them in our truck, and then we also did the same thing with mulch. Again, just so that it's like movable and feasible on site when you're working with volunteers.
Awesome. Just to go back though, our wastewater staff is currently experimenting with different ratios of that in potting soils. They've got a few pots of different things that they're trying to dial in on what that mixture will look like so that it can help promote the success of that product. Time does come. So stay tuned. More to come on that.
Okay.
Go ahead with the next slide. So we do quite a bit of invasive vegetation removal, and I think that's a big part of how our partnership started. So I really wanted to highlight the work that we did in 2025 with our current staff. We have really upped the ability to be able to track metrics, which we hadn't really done before at the Scappoose Bay Watershed Council. And Sophie, our GSI and watershed technician who works with the city, is also very good at helping us with that. So we removed 50 contractor bags of poison hemlock from the parks and public areas. Mainly the CZ Trail, Chief Concomly veterans, and EJ Smith. We removed 8 bags of garlic mustard. That was mostly removed from Chief Concomly. We conducted several spray treatments on different areas, targeting a lot of these different plants. And this photo is actually from last year, getting out and doing garlic mustard with our CTE program. That's our teacher in the background and a couple of students. Garlic mustard is one of the things, due to its nature, it's easy to hand pull, and the kids really actually enjoy it. So we will be getting out there actually relatively soon in the next month to do some of that work. Go ahead to the next slide. So talking about our CTE program, this has grown. So when I started with the Watershed Council, we had one class that assisted just at our nursery a couple times a week, and it was a plant science class. But with the partnership of both us here at the Watershed Council partnering with our teacher at the school, we have started a formalized natural resources CTE program. So she has 4 classes, I think, going into this next year. She has 3 classes, currently an environmental science class and 2 plant science classes. And she does during J term have a number of other classes that she hosts that also get those career and CTE, you receive career and technical education credits. So once this program started, we piloted it last year. The goal was to get the students out with us at least once a month, and out with the other partners that we work with and the students work with at least once a month, getting them on field trips for hands-on restoration work and practices. They get to do full circle stuff with us with restoration. So they're helping out. These students are also helping out twice a week still with our nursery. Now we have 60 to 80 kids that work with us at our nursery twice a week. And you know, transitional J term is normally about 20 kids. And we get them out to do other stuff, but at our nursery, they help manage all the plants, keep them alive. We teach them different types of propagation, and it goes full circle. So we also did something like the hardwood cutting, and we did mulching last December. And so we were able to propagate from some of the plants at Veterans Park, teaching them how to take cuttings, bringing those back to our nursery, and then teaching them how to propagate those plants at our nursery. So that was really successful. We have also taught them seed collection. They're getting out and doing water quality, starting to do water quality monitoring. The photo on the bottom left was from a macroinvertebrate survey. I believe there is one happening tomorrow at the park as well, where we wanted to do like a fall and spring comparison for the students in the environmental science class. And so that photo is actually of a lamprey that the students found, which was pretty cool at Veterans Park. They help with mulching around the native plants. They help with what we call daylighting, which is removing invasive grasses or just like vegetation around the base of the plants so that they can thrive better. We mulch around those plants. They help do different cleanups, and we teach them native plant identification, invasive plant identification, and everything else along the way. So these were just the field trips that were done in 2025 within our partnership. So the top one is them in the fall at Veterans. Those lovely trees. Next slide, please. So I wanted to highlight the GIS work within the partnership as well. I am not as versed in this as Sophie is. These are the things that she listed that she did in 2025 within her work with the city. So she facilitated GPS. Oh, no problem. Facilitated GPS collection of water meters and irrigation systems, created 4 custom maps, digitalized sewer, main, and stormwater storm catch basin cleaning records, uploaded layers, storm drainage, storm and sewer flow arrows, TSP addresses, and local wetland inventory. She created new layers, storm facilities, irrigations, dry wells. She's created dashboards for all of these different things that the city has needed. I know the fire hydrant aspect of that was pretty popular in the community from what I've heard. She updated different layers within zoning, utility addresses, and more. She added utilities from 19 as-built plans, and she has updated and sent data to the county and the state working with the city. So this is just a part of what she does. I've heard very good things from staff, from what Sophie does within this partnership as well.
I'll step in and say Sophie is fantastic. She's GIS certified. If she doesn't know something, she knows exactly how to figure it out. She's Johnny on the spot with any kind of like large or small task we need. She's fantastic. And we've worked with a lot of other professional GIS consultants who have these big companies and these big firms and charge big, massive billable rates, and none of them are as good as Sophie.
And this helps support us maintaining staff as well, as we wouldn't be able to have full-time hours for her. So this also assists in keeping her at a full-time rate, because most people want to work full-time, and then doing other types of work that she loves as well, working with us. Next slide. So then this gets right into that capacity. So based off of the calendar year for the 2025 IGA, our agreement is fiscal, but this was the hours that we calculated for calendar year, January through December. So that served our GSI technician. This supported 578 hours for her. For me, it supported for project management lead, permit support, and more. It supported 150 hours. And for direct field work, removing invasives, getting students out, assisting with their community, learning, and again, removing invasives, planting plants, 256 hours. and then approximately 4,500 plants in the ground total last year within the city alone. Next slide. So I wanted to, this is a little bit of a transitional slide just to talk about the Watershed Council as a whole. But the city of Scappoose, our partnership with you and the assistance with maintaining our partnership, doing the work that we do collaboratively helps maintain the capacity of our staff at full time so that we are only a staff of 3, and we do a lot of work throughout the entire watershed with a good portion of our watershed being here in Scappoose. But I wanted to chat about the whole metrics and show you guys kind of what we did in 2025. So next slide. And you'll probably see in the majority of these, a lot of the work that we do is here in Scappoose. So these were the work parties that we did for 2025. Top photo is at Nob Hill Park in St. Helens. The bottom photo is a purple loose stripe removal event at the Scappoose Bay Watershed, or at the Scappoose Bay. But we also, I think the planting in November, the last date there, planted around 250 plants or so. I'd have to double check that number, but next slide. So the top photo is from, on the left is from Veterans Park. That was a day of removal for staff that removed a bunch of poison hemlock from the park. The middle photo is a group photo from the Purple Loose Stripe event before they got on the water. The photo on the top right is of students working to remove invasive vegetation and do some daylighting around the plants to make the park also look nice, but have good survivability of the plants. The bottom is kayakers on the water for Purple Loose Stripe removal, and the bottom right is at Nob Hill. Next slide. This is my favorite tree in the county, which is why it's on this slide. This beautiful oak that I think Dave told me at one point is over 300 years old.
That's what the survey said.
It has one of the most beautiful canopies that I've seen. But we were able to do 4 educational forums. These are online forums that we then upload to our YouTube. And so we did a local environmental health forum, a fish passage forum, birds of Columbia County, and specifically an oak habitat forum. Next slide. We have started doing a lot of educational classes. These classes are free to the community. We sometimes put like a suggested donation, but we don't want fees or anything like that to be an accessibility issue for the education. I also personally teach native plants and sustainable gardening practices for the master gardeners. I'm a certified master gardener myself. And so that's where the first 2 classes come in. They've been having me teach those classes since before I was a master gardener though, so I will say that. Recently our spring Mason bee class last year, fall of 2024 is the pilot. It's gotten more popular. We partner with a local farm called Fat Dog Farms. It's run by Michelle Burge there. And this last spring's class this year, 2026, we had 37 participants. So it is pretty popular. These are all of the classes that we taught. Propagation is also getting more and more popular. I've been teaching, we work with local landowners to collect cuttings from their properties, and I teach propagation to the community in order for them to be able to harvest plants on their own land, to be able to replant along their streams and their wildlife areas. So that's what those classes are for. And we even ended the year with the seed bomb class. Next slide. These are the outreach events that we have hosted. Again, we continue to support also the Earth Day event, Fish Fest. Outdoor Fest, all of these different lovely outreach events. Next slide. I wanted to highlight our spring plant sale. Last year, we had 360 plus attendees, and it was the largest plant sale that we have had. So this is also some photos of our native plant nursery behind Scappoose High School. Next slide. Our fall plant sale from 2025, we had 210 attendees, and this year's spring plant sale we had, even though it was a rainy day, 265 attendees. Next slide. And then go to the last slide. So this is just a quick update of all of our metrics for the whole of the watershed. We restored 1.7 stream miles in 2025. Of that, the acreage that was restored and planted was 14. We had a large wood project, which is the photo in the upper left. It was a 1.5 mile project, but that helped contribute to almost 10,000 plants being planted that year. Our personal nursery donated almost 30 plants to the community. Of the number of invasive plant material that was removed was either in large landscape bags or those black contractor bags was 79. We engaged 84 volunteers and had a little over 800 hours of volunteer work. That's it.
That's great. Hopefully we'll see you Saturday. If we have any questions, we'll come and hit you up then, but thank you so much for this information and the partnership. It's been great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Work session adjourned. We'll start up in just a minute.